Hi, this is Dave Kale. Welcome to our Practical Wisdom series of podcasts where we try to provide wisdom and resources and focus on helping sales professionals and business executives sell better, lead better, and live better. Hi, this is Dave. I want to talk to you today about systems, business systems. You know, the title of my brand is Kale Way Sales Systems. So I'm a systems guy. You know, I think in terms of systems. I analyze things in terms of systems. I mean, they're big in my mind and a major part of what I do. And it's occurred to me that at its most fundamental level, business is always and only about three things, and that's money, people, and systems. Now, when we look at each one, we recognize that when it comes to money, for example, there is a huge body of content that discusses money in business. Lots of books have been written. Lots of consultants have careers which have been advanced in the pursuit of the wiser use of money. And a whole population of professionals, a whole industry, bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs, etc., have come into practice to deal effectively with money. So the money side of the equation, money, people, and systems, has been pretty well addressed. When it comes to people, that's the second piece. People as an element of business, there is an equally impressive body of knowledge and infrastructure. Again, a whole industry has been created of human resources. Lots of books have been written, YouTube videos created, seminars developed, and again, lots of consultants' careers enhanced by our constant quest to hire, manage, and develop good people. The field of human resources is devoted to that pursuit. And again, it's when you look at money, people, and systems, the people side of it is been really well addressed. When it comes to systems, however, there's not nearly the quantity and quality of conversation. And yet, effective systems are, in the very least, just as necessary as the growth and health of to the growth and health of a business as good people and adequate funds. Good systems are where the company's financial assets intertwine with the people to produce results. Often, a company's financial or people woes are really a symptom of poor systems. We've all heard the analogy of the business necessity of getting the right people on the right seats in the bus, but before you get the right people on the right seats, you got to have the bus. And the bus needs to have identified seats for people. Systems are like the bus. Without effective systems, there's no place for any other people. If your business is going to be effective, you must create effective systems so that you have the right places for the right people. So there's a fundamental principle at play here. Systems define the behavior of the people who operate within those systems. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just repeat this. Systems define the behavior of the people who operate within those systems. Effective systems make good people better. Poor systems encourage the worst in people. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a macro and a micro example. So on the macro side, for years and years, the USA and the USSR were in competition with one another. Now, their populations were roughly equal, and because of the massive size of the land mass and the population size, it's fair to assume that the distribution of talents and abilities were roughly equal. Their access to natural resources was roughly equal. Yet, one of those two nations exceeded the other in terms of economic activity, personal freedom, human expression, and quality of life. What was the difference? Well, it was the systems. One system encouraged individual initiative and excellent performance, and the other did not. And people responded in kind to the pressure of the system in place. See, systems dictate the behavior of the people who operate within those systems. Now, that's an example on the macro side. Let me give you an example on the micro side. Here's an example from my own personal life.
For years, my wife and I were foster parents, and we had 19 foster children. Over the years, almost all came from traumatic home situations. They're all emotionally upset and out of control when they came into our house. And I would watch my wife impose our system on them. So on the first day, when the child had come into our house, she would lay down the rules of the system. Here's your bedroom. You will sleep in the bed and not in the closet or on the floor. Come along. Here's the bathroom. You will wash your face. You will brush your teeth before you greet the family. Here's the kitchen table. You will eat sitting in a chair with silverware when the family eats. And, just all these rules, wham, came down on these kids. The system was in place. And within a few days, it was predictable. You would see a change in behavior. Within a few days, that new child would catch on, take them a day or two to catch on, and would begin to modify his or her behavior to fit within the system. And that predictability and that sense of security that the system brought gave them an opportunity to begin to heal. Now, as a consultant, I've personally and contractually worked with over 600 different companies. And out of that experience, I have formulated a principle for making positive changes within an organization. And the principle is this: change the system, and you change the behavior of the people who operate within that system. Let me repeat that because it's fundamental to what we're talking about here. Change the system, and you change the behavior of the people who operate within that system. I was often able to make significant changes in a company's growth and profitability, as a consultant, without even meeting most of the people. I would, because I'm a sales guy, I would analyze and refine the sales system. I didn't have to meet the people. I fine-tuned the system. To extend that analogy, before you get the right people on the bus, the engine must be well-tuned, the bus must have good tires, be mechanically sound, have the right number of seats to be headed in the right direction. You get that in place, then you can put the right people in the right seats. We have a great example of the importance of effective systems when we look at creation around us. Just look at creation, man, at every level. From the way atoms come into and out of existence and interact with one another at the tiniest level, to the ecosystems that arrange and order life on the planet, to the movement and relationships of stars and galaxies and constellations. Everywhere we look at every level, we see systems. Systems. The Creator did not just create stuff, matter and light and energy and life and so on, but He arranged that stuff into systems to empower its continued existence and development. I've concluded that creating, implementing, and forever improving powerful business systems is the highest and best use of executive time and talent. Well, so you're wondering, okay, what does it mean to create a system? It means that you have asked and answered this question: what's the best way to do this? That's in its simplest form. A system is the answer to the question, what is the best way to do this? Now, when you answer it, you begin to build a system. Then you need to document the answer so it has some life beyond the moment. And typically, you can flow chart the step-by-step progression of events. You can create ways to measure the input and the output and the key steps in the process. And you create appropriate tools to facilitate the process. And then, and by the way, lastly, you hire and train the right people to operate the system. And then, of course, you measure and manage the system regularly and continually improve it forever. That's what it means. So when we think about business and creating systems for different aspects of the business, the question is, which aspects of my business should be systematized? And, it takes time and resources to create effective systems. It is, therefore, unwise to attempt to systematize everything. Any process or tasks that are important and sophisticated and repeated should be systematized. Important, sophisticated, and repeated. Now, important means just that, but it's relative. Someone at the executive level needs to prioritize the areas to be systematized. So you start out with the highest priority issues, and when you finish them, you might find that others, which you deemed unimportant, have now risen to the top. Okay, so what you do is continually work at the highest priority processes and areas of the business that you want to systematize. What's first, next, and so on. And you keep chipping away at the top. You'll probably never get everything done, but that's okay because you're making considerable progress as you work at the highest priority. So you continue to work at the highest priority issues until you've reached sort of a level of granularity that isn't worth executive time and resources, and then you move on to another one. So important is an issue for the key executives in the organization to determine and prioritize. So important, sophisticated, and repeated. Sophisticated, that means that it involves multiple steps and often multiple people. So operating a punch press to stamp out metal parts is probably too simple a task to address. It's pretty simple. Moving a piece of steel from the warehouse through production to the finished goods inventory is, however, much more sophisticated set of tasks, which involves multiple people and a variety of tools and equipment. That's why that is of the movement of goods in and out from raw materials to finished goods in a manufacturing concern is often the first process to be systematized because it's fundamental to what the business does. But the idea is here that there are aspects of the business, whether it's the flow of goods from raw materials to finished goods, to the movement of money, to the sales process, and so on. There are aspects of the business that are sophisticated. And if they're important and sophisticated, you're well on your way to identifying an area that is, therefore, open to systematization. And then the last criteria, so important, sophisticated, and repeated. That means that you do it over and over again. So, for example, if you build a new building to house your company, okay, that's probably a one-off task. And while it's important and it's sophisticated, you probably aren't going to do it again for a while. So, you don't need to create a system to build a one-off building. If, however, you're in the business of building office buildings, then that's repeatable, and yeah, it absolutely should be systematized. So 3 criteria: important, sophisticated, and repeated. Okay, now, where to now? Well, there's an extensive list of things that need to be examined and considered to shine a light on implementing effective systems within our businesses. And I'll save those for a later podcast. For now, I'd like you to begin to think about the prospect of improving the systems within your business. No business rises to the level of sustainability and growth without effective systems. Okay? That's it. We're done. Bye-bye.